that the train of evils which have resulted because of intemperate eating and drinking might be lessened. Especially on Sabbath, there's nothing wrong to eat. Eating is a part of our health. We need to eat as well. If we don't eat, we will be, we'll get sick. We need to be nourished physically as well. But there must be some control.
We eat for strength, not for
Okay, we eat for strength, not for. Okay, we eat to live, right? Okay, Not live to eat. Okay, not live to eat. Now, what happens to those who indulge in appetite? I've seen. I don't know if you have seen some truck drivers, because we've been on the road many years. Some truck drivers, they carry with them big bags of chips and popcorn or anything, that they can have in their side. That way, they don't get sleepy when they're driving. So that helps them not to be sleepy on the road. But that's not a good habit, actually. People drink coffee just to wake them up, is even worse. So it says here the purpose, what happens to those who indulge? God has permitted the light of health reform to shine upon us in these last days, that by walking in the light we may escape many of the dangers to which we shall be exposed. Satan is working with great power to lead men to indulge appetite, gratify inclination, and spend their days in heedless folly. He presents attractions in a life of selfish enjoyment and of a sensual indulgence. Intemperance saps the energies of both mind and body. He who is thus overcome has placed himself upon Satan's ground, where he will be tempted and annoyed and finally controlled at pleasure by the enemy of all unrighteousness. So what is the purpose of this hygienic reform diet? It says here, this is another quotation, CD 23, paragraph 2, let it ever be kept before the mind that the great object of hygienic reform is to secure the highest possible development of mind and soul and body. All the laws of nature, which are the laws of God, are designed for our good. Obedience to them will promote our happiness in this life and will aid us in a preparation for the life to come. So the health message, this reform diet, will contribute us, will develop our mind, soul, and body. So it's really perfect, once we follow it. But sometimes, if we truly follow remember the 8 laws of health, right? The 8 laws of health.
New start.
Okay, new start. Okay, N is what? Nutrition. E is exercise. W is water. S is sunshine. T is temperance. A is air. R, rest. T is trust in divine power. New start. But the E right there, exercise, is something that also needed. We've been, when you're sick, you go to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes you. Just like when I had my knee injury, the doctor said, you need to exercise that knee right there, so so that you will have some strength. What's the best exercise, doctor? Should I be walking? No, you can go up and down in the stair. If you have a stair there, that helps, strengthen that knee right there. God has a purpose in exercise, why he put that there, why we need to exercise, and how much time we need to exercise. They said 30 minutes is good, and but what about those people who doesn't exercise? They just stay right there inside the house. You think they can be healthy? No, everything is all included. God knew already that these things are good for us. So we have to follow them. Is it possible for those who indulge appetite can attain Christian perfection? It says here, it is impossible for those who indulge appetite to attain Christian perfection. What is the main reason Christ has delayed his second coming? Christ is waiting for longing desire for the manifestation of himself in his church. When the character of Christ shall be perfectly reproduced in his people, then he will come to claim them as his own. So basically, the reason why Christ delayed his coming, because his character is not being perfectly reproduced. Our character is not being molded by Christ. We still have an issue with our anger, patience, and so many things. We need to develop that. We get angry, maybe if somebody tries to annoy you, you get angry. You should be able to control your emotion, you know. That is part why the health message is being given, so that we can be straightened. What is to manifest in our character before Christ come? His own, it says here, what is to manifest in our character before Christ can come? In order to be fitted for translation, the people of God must know themselves. They must understand in regard to their own physical frames, that they may be able with the psalmist to exclaim, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. They should ever have the appetite in subjection to the moral and intellectual organs. The body should be servant to the mind, and not the mind to the body. Now, the body should be servant to the mind, and not the mind to the body. Now, did it happen that instead of the mind being the master, the master of the body becomes the master of the mind? Did that happen?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Did it happen all the time? I mean, the body says, I'm hungry. The mind says, no, you just eat. But sometimes, no, I want to satisfy. So the body becomes the master instead of the mind.
I want the liquid.
So make sure that the body should be the servant of the mind, not the mind to the body. Okay? So that we can control. And that's because there is no control. The law of the Ten Commandments has been regarded by man. God would not come to punish the transgressors of that law without first sending them a message of warning. The third angel proclaimed that message. Had men ever been obedient to the law of Ten Commandments, carrying out in their lives the principles of those precepts, the curse of disease now flooding the world would not be. See, if we are just faithful or obedient, okay, to the third angel's message or to the commandments of God, there would have been no diseases flooding the earth. But the thing is, we don't follow the Ten Commandments. You know, the only thing that we did when we were before the present truth came, right? What was the only thing that we did not eat? We restricted ourselves from eating. Only those unclean, those are the things being mentioned there. So in other words, we were just eating anything, as long as we don't eat the unclean, we're okay. But no, there was a reason why God gave us this. Because the original diet, that was not the original diet. The original diet given by God, Genesis 1:29. That was the original diet. God did not actually include flesh food in the original diet. And then a lot of Adventists would say, why God gave that there in the Leviticus 11? Why did he do that? He said only that we can only eat the clean one. Why did he put that there? The reason why God put that there, you know why? What do you think, during the time of the children of Israel, when they were in the wilderness, God gave them the manna. then why God provided them the flesh food? What was the reason? Because they asked for it. They want it. They want to shorten their lives. God wants them to prolong their lives. But they want it. Okay, it's up to you. As the quail were being poured out, you remember the quail? So much bird that they just cannot control their flesh eating habit. Before it even went inside, they die. The Lord was not happy with them. So many people died, you know, and we didn't know it. And you know, my dad used to have. My dad loves the what we call the curry goat. You know, those what's the name of that? Huh? Calderita, yeah, the goats. You know, that's the delicacy in Balay. You know, we used to do that, but see, we didn't know it. We're just thankful that when we came here in the U.S., we encountered this proselytizing. We should have been eating still, and maybe we are not. We are probably dead already, you know, because of that diet. But the Lord is so good; He gave us this diet because the curse of disease now flooding the world, you know, is here because of that. And that's why the Lord is so good to us. He gave us this message so that we can straighten our diet. Now, does God mean what He says? That now that we know the light, if we still continue to disregard, what's going to happen to us? Remember, God means what He says. It says here, the Lord does not give light on health reform that it may be disregarded by those who are in positions of influence and authority. The Lord means just what He says, and He is to be honored in what He says. Light is to be given upon these subjects. It is the diet question that needs close investigation, and prescription should be made in accordance with health principle. Okay, so basically, God means what He says. So we have to make sure that we follow what God tells us to do, because if we don't, it says here, God has given us great light upon health reform, which requires us all to respect. He does not send light to be rejected or disregarded by His people without their suffering the consequences. See, God allows things to happen, but you will suffer the consequence. There's a consequence in everything that we disregard, especially when we eat this kind of diet. You know, people say, fish is still good. Fish. Well, what is in the fish? And not only, okay. No, remember that in the period, you know, what I have seen in the YouTube, you know, how they dump those, you know, those cruise, you know, people who cruise, right? They ride those big boat, those septic, they have a big tank there, you know, storage tank. Where do you think they abandon it? They, you know, they throw this thing. They throw it in California? No, they throw it somewhere there in the ocean so that they don't have to carry those. And those fish love those things, you know. How many people there, you know, those fish love those. So there is a consequence in everything that we disregard, you know. It says here, 70 Adventists are handling momentous truths more than 40 years ago. The Lord gave us special light on health reform, but how are we walking in that light? How many have refused to live in harmony with the counsels of God? As a people, we should make advancement proportionate to the light received. It is our duty to understand and respect the principles of health reform on the subject of temperance. We should be in advance of all other people. And yet, there are among us well-instructed members of the church and even ministers of the gospel who have little respect for the light that God has given upon the subject. They eat as they please and work as they please. Actually, there's a lot of, how do you call that? The one that